Hello, beautiful people. My name is Sahil. Today is 2nd of May, and welcome to Newspaper Analysis. Friends, 1st of May is observed as International Workers' Day in all the countries, and it celebrates the effort and the pain that is taken by the workers. Guys, on the spirit of International Workers' Day, we will see a quote from Martin Luther Jr. King, who was a civil rights activist in US who gave a befitting battle to the discrimination that was going in America. Guys, Martin Luther King Jr. says, no work is insignificant. All labor that uplifts humanity has dignity and importance and should be undertaken with a painstaking excellence. This particular quote becomes relevant when we often ignore the efforts that are given by the workers working at the lower rungs of the society. For example, the rag pickers, for example, the drivers, for example, the petty workers, and often we condemn their job as menial either knowingly or unknowingly. However, the effort that they are giving is the one which is sustaining the plinth of the society on which the superstructures are based. It is a reality that we can live without the artificial intelligence or internet of things, but we cannot live if a rag picker is not coming to collect your garbage, if a cleaner is not coming to wipe up the streets. Guys, please remember this quote for your GS paper number 2 social justice and your paper on essay. Now guys, let's begin with today's analysis. Guys, this is the page number 1 of the Hindu newspaper, and as you can see that the government has extended the lockdown and various state governments are also taking initiatives in that particular regard. So the entire paper is filled with the news related to the number of cases, number of fatalities of only COVID-19. So guys, today I will be taking a couple of news from the PIB, Indian Express and Financial Express, which are very important for UPSC exam, but they have not been here into the Hindu newspaper. Guys, just for a starter, if we see the lockdown, then there are three things which have been coming with the lockdown extension, which was announced yesterday. First of all, considerable relaxations have been given throughout the zones. For example, in green zone, even the buses can operate with 50% of capacity. In orange zone, taxis and cabs will be permitted if they carry one passenger. Moreover, the district movement of the vehicles is also allowed into the orange zone. Now, if we talk about red zone, there are two types of area. One are the containment zone, other are the non-containment zone. In containment zone, the easing out has not been carried, but into the non-containment zone, private cars will be allowed to carry the maximum of two-person apart from the driver. Moreover, the public transport have been suspended, though public transport is suspended in all the zones. Now, after that, the new categorization for the green zone, orange zone, and the red zone has been adopted. Now, the green zone are those areas where the no case have came in last 21 days or there is no confirmed case till now. Then the orange and red zone don't have any day classification as earlier there was, and it right now it is into the green zone. Rather, categorization will depend on various factors such as cumulative number of cases, doubling rate, recovery rate. All these things will be taken in factor, and then the district will be classified as orange or red. And guys, then the Shramik special train has been started to take the migrants from their working state to their home state. Guys, this first now these trains are allowed, and according to MHA, their arrangements will be made. However, even before the MHA issued a notification, one such a train started from the Telangana to the Jharkhand. So, guys, this thing was also taken up. And guys, moreover, the Ministry of Home Affairs has also directed that Arogya Setu app should be made compulsory. Now, the extension or the reach should be made as wide as possible, but for right now, the people into the containment zone, they have to compulsorily install, and the employees, including both into the private sector as well as public sector, has been directed that they need to install the Arogya Setu app. Guys, Arogya Setu app has been used by the government as a measure of surveillance on the movement of people. Guys, from here we can see that with whom the people are meeting, and such data can be very much helpful for the contact tracing on which government wants to focus. Because guys, you know that the virus is very much contagious, and until and unless it will not be ascertained with whom the people are coming into the contact with, there will be considerable problem in controlling it. So therefore Arogya Setu app will be helping into the surveillance, therefore their reach is being now extended. So guys, this was all about this. Don't go much deeper than this. Now we'll move to the next news. Now friends, here's the news in the All India Radio as well as PIB Press Information Bureau. According to the news item, Kisan Sabha app has been launched by the CSIR. Now, friends, you know that the supply chain has been broken due to the COVID 19. Goods are not being able to evacuated from the farms, the trucks are not plying. Moreover, all the system has been broken down. So, guys, the Kisan Sabha app will be working on this particular dimension. Moreover, Kisan Sabha app is one of the biggest reform that the agriculture marketing will be seeing into the recent years. Now guys, what will be happen, this app will work as a portal, and on that portal the farmers, the transporters, that is truckers, the customers, mandi dealers, big retail outlets, all will be connected. Moreover guys, on this particular portal the farmer can also connect with the service providers, for example, who provide the pesticide services, fertilizer services, cold storage. So all this will be a one stop solution. Now friends, there is always a problem that suppose I am a farmer and today I had harvested my crop. Now I don't have the accessibility to the cold storage, therefore I need to dump my produce at whatever price I am getting. Though it leads to the exploitation, and the farmer's income suffers a lot into this particular dimension, and the goal to double the farm income by 2022 will not be possible. But now what will be happening, by using the portal we can connect him to the cold storage, we can connect him to the warehouse facilities, he can store the goods there, and whenever he can get the better price he can sell it. Moreover, if he is not getting the better price into the mandi, he can sell it to the retail outlet. If he is not getting there also, he can go to the other customers. So it will be a very good initiative. Now, friends, will look at CSIR, who has developed the app. So, CSIR stands for Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. Guys, it was established in 1942 by the government of India as an autonomous body. It means that it has its own regulation, its own structure with respect to its governance. Now, guys, though it is an autonomous body which has its independent functioning, but the body is funded by the Ministry of Science and Technology. And if we talk about the structure of CSIR, then the chairman or the president of the CSIR is the Prime Minister of India. After that, there is vice chairperson, who is the Minister of Science and Technology, and then there is the Director General, who is actually the functional head. So, guys, this was all about this. Now we'll move to the next news item. Now, guys, there was a news item into the PIB as well as into the Mint, along with other papers such as Indian Express also. Now, guys, one nation, one ration card was in news because now five more states and UTs have joined the one nation, one ration card scheme, and often it is into the news because the question is being raised that why this scheme has not been implemented yet into the aftermath of COVID 19. Now, friends, first of all, one nation, one ration card scheme is being implemented by Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution. The scheme was to be fully implementable on 1st of June 2020, but still the progress has been very much less. Now, guys, if we discuss about the scope of one nation, one ration card scheme, so what happens? Now guys, right now there is large population which does not have the accessibility of food, therefore government is giving them the right to food under the National Food Security Act, which came in force in 2013. Now, under the National Food Security Act, highly subsidized food will be given at 3 rupees kg, 2 rupees kg, 1 rupees, 3 for rice, 2 rupees for wheat, and 1 rupees for coarse grains. Now, guys, under NFSA, there are two type of people who will be getting food. One are the Antyodaya households, and other are the priority households. Antyodaya are the very much vulnerable and poor. To them, the entitlements will be given on the basis of family, 35 kg per family. To priority households, they are poor but not that much vulnerable as Antyodaya are. To them, the entitlements will be given on the individual basis, that is 5 kg per individual. Now, guys, these food entitlements could be taken from the fair price shops. And at these fair price shops, you need to show your ration card and they will give you the food. But the problem is that there are large people who are migrants. It means they might have a ration card from Bihar, but they are now working into the Maharashtra. So their Bihar's ration card is not implementable in Maharashtra. So they will not get the food. So that was actually defeating the purpose of the entire act. So therefore, the one nation one card idea came, which talks about the portability of your food benefits. It means that if you are having the ration card of one state, you can still access the food into the other states. Now, guys, we want that all the states into the country should adopt this scheme, then only the program will be fully implementable. However, till now, only 17 states have joined as of the yesterday, and therefore there is a weak implementation of the adoption, due to which poor are suffering. Now, guys, going further, how this entire scheme was to be implemented step by step, we'll see. First of all, there was the need of computerization of all the records of the beneficiaries and of the entire public distribution system. This particular thing is going for few years now. Now, guys, after that, fair price shops were to be equipped by electronic point of sale terminal, on which the details could be verified onto the real time basis. It is a kind of a handheld device. Now, once all this infrastructure is into the place, the beneficiaries could be identified via Aadhaar verification. And if his identity or if his Aadhaar verification is successful, he can get the food from any state into the any fair price shop. Now, friends, for your exam, please keep in mind there are various benefits of this. For example, number one, the poor will get the food, so welfare will be there. Second, there will be no duplication of ration cards of one person. Then it therefore it will avoid the wastage of resources and will also avoid the corruption. Third, as there will be Aadhaar verification, the ghost beneficiaries, it means the people who are not meant to get the benefit, will also be avoided. So, guys, all this was about this particular news item. Now we'll move to the next. Now, friends, here's a news item on page number 5 which mentions about the Thrissur Puram festival. Now, guys, it could be important for art and culture. Guys, according to the news, this year the mega celebrations which occur every year will not be there because of the lockdown. Now, if we see to the festival, then guys, the festival is associated with the state of Kerala, and it is an annual Hindu festival. Now, it is a temple festival, so it is primarily associated with Vadakunathan temple. However, other temples are also now participating into this. Now, guys, Thrissur Puram's festival starts with Kodiyattam, which is a flag hosting ceremony, and after that, a mega celebration occurs. Now, guys, into the Kodiyattam, large pomp and show is depicted where the elephants, drummers, they will be proceeding and will play their instruments. After that, there is a Vilambaram ceremony which marks the beginning of a festival. Guys, now the all these things, either they are being cancelled in some temples or they are taking place in a very, very, very lower scale. So, guys, this was all about the Thrissur Puram festival. Now, friends, don't go more deeper than this because then it will not be useful for your exam. Now, friends, after that, on the page number 5, there is a very good case study which could be used into the GS2 into answers of good governance. Now, friends, what has happened? Andhra Pradesh is giving the pensions to the beneficiaries at their doorsteps, which is a very good example of good governance. Now, what has happened? Into the aftermath of COVID 19, in order to observe the social distancing and lockdown, It was said into the last month that the volunteers will be going to the beneficiaries, and by the biometric details they will be giving over them their pensions. But then it was realized that by using the biometric portal, the disease could further spread as it is contagious in nature. Therefore, now what they are doing, they are clipping the mobile phone images, and those images are being uploaded onto the real time basis, and they are being geotagged. Guys, why geotagging is being done? So that it can be made sure where the beneficiary has been given the pension. Moreover, by real time uploading of the photograph, it could also be ascertained that the photo was clicked on that time only, and not the older photo is being uploaded. Now there are large number of benefits of this entire exercise. Guys, please think, who are the ones who are getting pensions? They could either be old ones, they could either be widows, they could either be disabled, and at the same time these are the very section which are more vulnerable. So by giving services to them at their home will prevent these vulnerables from falling sick. Secondly, as the mechanisms of geotagging and real time uploading are being used, it will prevent the corruption. And thirdly, it will make a kind of a bond between the state on one hand and citizen on the other hand, as citizens will inclined towards the state by seeing this good gesture. So guys, a very good exercise of good governance. Guys, one thing, if at the point when the volunteer goes and the beneficiary is not at the house, the pension will be later transferred through some other alternative mean. Now we'll move to the next news item. Friends, now we are into the editorial section, and the first editorial section talks about the food security in India. Now, friends, elements such as food, nutrition, livelihood, all these things are related to each other and are interlinked very closely. If we want to ensure the human health as well as human security, then all the elements are needed to be worked upon. And now, as a pandemic of COVID-19 is emerging and lockdown is progressing, all the elements are threatened, which are ultimately threatening the human security. Now, further, though government had announced various benefits such as providing additional entitlements of rice and wheat, providing them the cash transfer so that they can buy the items such as oil and all these kind of things, but still a kind of more holistic, dedicated and coordinated response is needed from the end of government. Now, guys, if we track the elements into the food, nutrition, and livelihood chain, then the first element is the food availability. However, on this front, the problem is not that major because of the success of the green revolution, after which there are ample amount of food available. Friends, in this green revolution, the major contribution was of that farmer, and still our farmer has not been given the sustainable source of income. He is still confronted with large problems such as labor shortage, shortage of inputs such as the seeds, then government procurement is not adequate, and guys, all these problems have become even more worse due to lockdown. And friends, just for a moment, even if we assume that these things are available, supply chain have been broken, due to which he is not able to make his produce available to the market. Now, as food is plenty, but because all these channels are broken, food is not reaching the market. So supply is there, but demand is not there. And in that capacity, one point also needed to be kept into the mind, that India has very less capacity of cold storage, in which the problem will become even more bad if urgently supply and demand does not matches. Now, guys, once food availability is ensured, the next issue comes is the accessibility of food, whether the food is available to the people or not. In this direction, government had started the National Food Security Act, under which the food is being made available. But since there is large scope for the improvement, and guys, into the public distribution system, entities such as oil, pulses, millets should also be added. Friends, India has a problem of hidden hunger, where you think that you are taking the enough of food but still you are malnourished. Why this kind of hidden hunger develops? Because there is a lack of micronutrients, which is not a person is able to get when he is eating only some selected items such as rice and wheat only. Therefore, by providing the additional things such as pulses and millets, the hidden hunger will be solved. And guys, this problem is to be solved on urgent basis because of the life cycle approach, in which it has been seen that the first 1000 days of a children's life cycle is very much important, so that he can develop his mental capacities to learn, to acquire new skills, so that his cognitive abilities are developed. And all these things will only be developed if he will get the nutritious enough food. Now, as we are talking about the accessibility of food, there is one more element into this thing, that is job security. Because if a person will lose the job, he will not be able to buy the food, and in that capacity his nutritional security will also be impacted. So job security and nutritional security are dependent on each other. So therefore, in this direction, what could be done? Guys, we can develop or we can produce more of a jobs into the existing sectors. For example, number one, we can take the example of rice biopark in Myanmar. Here, so much of value addition has been done to the rice plantation that every element, beginning from the straw and going to the biomass, everything is utilized and are made into some productive things. Now, it has various advantages. First of all, it leads to the better utilization of the resource, and secondly, it is also giving employment to large number of people, as they all are employed into one segment or the other segment related to rice only. Therefore, these type of value addition strategies are needed to be explored. Guys, in this case, the Amul example of India is also very much relevant, as it has also provided the large value addition. Second thing, what we can do, we can utilize the network of MG Narega. Right now, under the MG Narega, only employment is provided for the non skilled type of jobs. So now it is high time that into the MG Narega list, skilled work such as farming, plantation, taking care of sick people, etc., should also be included, so that the people who are employed here can also get employment under MG Narega. Now, after the availability and the accessibility comes the absorption of food. Friends, it is a non food dimension, and it is said that if a person will not be given better sanitary condition, he is not be kept healthy, then even if the food is available, he will not be able to absorb the food in his body. Now, all these conditions are the responsibility of the local panchayats and the local bodies, that they provide a better livable condition to all the people. In the same respect, there is need that the better hygiene should be developed. There should be ample availability of water, so that people can wash their hands and can stay safe from the pathogens and infectious diseases. Therefore, friends, all the three dimensions are needed to be addressed simultaneously, which are threatened because of the coronavirus. Even if the farmer has the crop standing in his fields, he is not able to cut off the crops, is not able to sell the crops. And thirdly, as poor sanitary conditions are there, people might fall prone to disease. Guys, into the past also, into 1960s, India was on the verge of a famine and food crisis were there, but by using the intelligent technologies and by making better decisions, India avoided that. And today also, by adopting all these things, again that thing could be achieved. So guys, this was all about this particular article. Now we'll move to the next. Friends, this particular article is a case study of Taiwan, as how Taiwan has controlled the COVID-19. Guys, if somebody asks a question that what was the reason for such rise into the COVID-19, then there could be one answer, that is international transportation. Guys, what has happened into the recent time, globalization and intermingling of people is rising so rapidly that even if a disease is there in some corner of the world, it is bound to spread throughout the countries. Now, this is the same thing which happened with the Ebola, H1N1, and MERS. And even in the times to come, such a thing will might bound to happen, but the response of the countries is thing which makes a difference. And guys, in this example, the Taiwan is one which stands apart from the crowd. So if we see the strategy of Taiwan, then first of all, Taiwan seen the proportion of the SARS outbreak 17 years ago, and since then Taiwan is ready to deal with the next wave of any epidemic. Now, first of all, friends, Taiwan was very quick in responding, and as the first of the first case came in Wuhan, Taiwan became ready and started the quarantine of the all the direct flights which were coming from Wuhan to Taiwan. Moreover, Taiwan established a central epidemic command center on into the January itself, and its purpose was to make a give a dedicated response towards the coronavirus. And moreover, apart from giving a quick response, Taiwan also utilized technology to its advantage. In this direction, Taiwan established an electronic entry system for all the people who entered. Now, guys, these people were to be registered with a local mobile number, and after the registration, they were sent a kind of a health certificate, and all their information was stored into the National Health Insurance database. And if any of these persons were infected, then all the health professionals could be alerted, and his details could be used for the contact tracing of the people, and as well as to stop the community transmission. And Taiwan also worked with the mobile operators so that the people who are into the home quarantine, their GPS location could be tracked and their movement could be restricted. Now, guys, apart from this, Taiwan also implemented the stringent implementation protocols. Huge fines and penalties were installed. Moreover, the mass testing is the key for stopping the community transmission, and in this direction, the Taiwan designated 50 regional hospitals and medical centers as community hospitals, and multiple tier system for testing was enacted so that large number of people could be tested in very less time. After that, there is a need that essential items should be available to all the people. So, guys, in order to make the availability of masks to everyone, Taiwan launched a name based rationing system, and under this particular system, people were allowed to order the masks online, and then they can pick up their masks from a nearby pharmacy which is contracted with the NHI, that is National Health Insurance. Now, moreover, Taiwan also banned the export of surgical masks very early so that there is no shortfall for their own people. Now, friends, after that, giving a coordinated response at the domestic fronts, Taiwan also acted as a responsible international player. It shared all the details with the WHO and notified the exact number of COVID 19 cases. Moreover, not only it shared information with WHO, but shared informations with neighboring countries such as Korea, Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines, as well as to the far off countries such as US and Canada, so that they can be well prepared if they infect the people with the COVID 19. Then, after that, Taiwan has also uploaded the genetic sequence of COVID 19 at the global initiative on sharing all information data so that the better invention and innovations could be made in fighting COVID 19. Now, guys, all these things said, it is a fact that WHO does not recognizes Taiwan and does not provides the needed assistance to the Taiwan. Now, it has been seen that given the responsible role of Taiwan, WHO should recognize the Taiwan's effort and should provide all the assistance that a Taiwan needs. Moreover, it is not only that Taiwan needs WHO, but rather WHO itself can also learn various valuable methods as well as data from the Taiwan which it can use for ensuring the well-being of the international community. Now, friends, if you know, the China believes that China is one country and Taiwan is one of its part, because China propagates one China policy, but Taiwan does not accept the China's version and asks for their own independent sovereignty. Therefore, WHO is also not recognizing the Taiwan. So, guys, it is a time that seeing the response of Taiwan, WHO should reconsider its stand and should include the Taiwan also into WHO's health framework, because only in that way the sustainable development goal which provides for the health and well-being of all people could be fulfilled. So, guys, this was all about this article. Now we'll move to the next. Now, friends, here's a news on page number 9 which could act as a ready-made answer for your GS paper number 2. Friends, here a reform has been asked by the developmental activist into the MG Narega scheme. In this direction, first of all, it is being said that funding for the MG Narega should be increased for up to 1 lakh crore rupees. Why? Because MG Narega is a very old scheme and it has capacity that if such increased funding will be given, it can utilize that funding for the welfare of the people. Now, secondly, it has been provided that the limit for the days of work which are provided under MG Narega should be increased. Now, it has been there has been 100 days of limit of work which is to be provided to the household, but it should be increased to as many number of days as a person wants. Then, thirdly, if you want to get a work under MG Narega, you need to have a MG Narega job card, but that thing takes a lot of time as there are large number of formalities. Now, there are large number of migrants which are returning due to the lockdown and they need some urgent job. Therefore, without wasting time for preparation of job codes. Anybody who is wanting a work should be given a job, and the registration of job card etc should be made on the work site at that time only. And the fourth point is that, guys, right now the wages are to be given in 15 days. Now it is being said that those wages should be given into the window of 7 days. Moreover, apart from the wages, dry rations etc should also be given to the workers so that they can utilize that thing. After that, when we are talking about the wages, the biometric system as well as bank payment should not be given, because it will lead to the overcrowding into the bank. So therefore new methodology should be searched for that particular thing. And then sixthly, there is one more reform that could be taken. Guys, recently the people who are elderly or who are sick or the women are avoided to work on the sites because they are more vulnerable. So in that particular situation, full wages should be paid to the people who are not coming due to the restrictions. Now guys, there is one more thing. As a district is declared as red zone, the entire district is contained. But this strategy is not good. Rather, the declaration should be on block wise, so that the villages or the other blocks which are not into that region, there the MG Narega work can go. So these are all the reforms which could be taken into the MG Narega. Guys, this is a ready-made answer. You can use it into your GS paper number 2. Apart from that MG Narega, there is one more reform which could be taken up, that is Urban Job Guarantee Scheme. Now, MG Narega, since it is for the rural areas, there will be large number of people who will be going into the small towns and small cities, and they are not having job. So into the urban areas also, such kind of job sites should be identified and they should be given jobs. So guys, this was all about this. Now we'll move to the next news item. Now guys, there is one more news item on the back page, that the Kashmir saffron has given the GI tag. Now guys, I had told you many number of times that the GI tag is a geographical indication that is given to a particular thing, so that its marketability could be enhanced. So now friends, there are lacustrine deposits into the Kashmir which are known as Karevas. Lacustrine means that at one point of time they were below the lake, and now the water has gone out of that lake. That particular soil has remained still there, and on that particular thick soil cover these saffrons are grown. So therefore these soil formations are called as karevas. Now here a local variety of saffron is grown, which is called also called as zafran. And guys, this particular saffron has a very distinct color, aroma and texture, due to which it is appreciated worldwide. So now this local variety of saffron, also called as jafran, has been given a GI tag. Now, guys, if we talk about the saffron of Kashmir, then it is imported into the countries, and Iran is also one of the largest producer of saffron, and India is a close competitor to it. Moreover, the saffron of Kashmir is a world renowned spice, and it has various health benefits also. Moreover, it is used into the cosmetics as well as for the medicinal purposes, and it is also the part of rich cultural cuisine of Kashmir. And guys, one important fact for the prelims, it is the only saffron in the world which is grown at such a high altitude. Now, friends, there by the separate names also it could be asked. So there are three varieties of saffron, that is Lacha saffron, there is Mongra saffron, and there is the Gucci saffron. So just please remember their name. I'll not recommend that you go in between the lines that what exactly are the characteristics of each variety of saffron, because that thing will not be possible for large number of GI items. So guys, this is all about the Kashmiri Zafran. Please remember this for your prelims. So guys, this was all about today's newspaper discussion. I hope you have liked the session. Thank you so much.